So, Louise, good morning, and how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good, thank you. Happy Monday, Ian. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I was at the Leinster Munster match in Croke Park on Saturday, and much to my chagrin of my entire family, I wore my Munster hat because I'm a hidden Munster fan, and I ended up with a 6 second segue on television, so they couldn't
Oh,
even hide it.
gee. Saw that actually. I was like, check him out. I meant to say that to you actually. Yeah. I say you
Yeah,
got thumbs up, did you?
so apologies to all anybody who didn't know I was a Munster supporter, and we get it out of the way early now at this stage, you know. Um,
All my kids are Munster supporters, so yeah, you've got great support in this house, I can tell you.
we're in good company. So look, first of all, congratulations. You've amalgamated with Chris Mee International,
Thank
um,
you.
and
Thank you.
so getting you now for an interview is becoming more difficult. But you might give a bit of background to yourself and then the amalgamation with Chris Mee, if you don't mind, will you?
Sure, no problem at all. No problem at all. Thank you. So I set up my business 6 years ago. And the foundation of the business was to reduce the stigma regarding mental health through education. And I wasn't sure what that was going to look like, but I was a woman on a mission, to be very honest with you. I got involved with an accreditation body in the UK that's internationally recognised. So I was able to bring internationally accredited mental health first aid training to Ireland because there's no accreditation body here in Ireland. And since then, I've been working with um, lots of different companies, government bodies, a lot of the education training boards and skill nets. And one of the big, I suppose, advantages of the kind of courses that I offer is that some of them are internationally recognized and accredited. And because of that, I get to work with some amazing organizations like the DDL, Dublin ETB, and MSL, Mayo, Sligo, Leitrim ETB as well, along with Retail Skillnet Ireland, etc. So it's it's kind of it's made me realize that the issues with mental health inside work, outside of work, they're everywhere, and we need to understand it better in order to help our employees, our families, our friends, and ourselves.
So, I mean, the bit I'm trying to, I mean, we've come into this through G Ward's Health only in the last sort of 18 months, and so we're coming at it from the outside in, if that makes sense. Is the stigma going away? Is it getting any better?
Um, I think there's still stigma there. I think we've come a long way. I do feel we've a long way to go in some industries more than others. I do think that the younger generation are much more receptive um, to learning and talking about mental health. I do feel that we have a bit of a climb with regard to certain kind of industries, but we're getting there. We're
Yeah.
getting there. We're continuing. There's a lot of us working in this space and a lot of really good people that I've come across and probably you've come across as well. And we're not going away. We're not going away. And for that reason, um, we're starting to kind of break down some of the barriers and mindsets when it comes to poor mental health. I mean, the thing I always quote on courses, imagine being diagnosed with the worst illness possible, God forbid cancer or something like that. And then imagine that person admitting that the stigma was worse than the illness itself. Like there's something fundamentally wrong with that, in my opinion.
Well,
And I'm trying to change that.
I had the privilege of having an interview with Barbara Brennan there recently, and
She's
so you know
amazing.
Barbara well, and so she's also very much leading it, and she's leading it from experience, which is obviously a huge thing from that side of it.
Huge.
So, obviously, being accredited or having accreditation, um, does that mean that you are a trained trainer, or how does that actually work from you as a business sense?
So it means that we can the accreditation piece is really important to some organizations and not so to others. But it just means that the course that we offer is under a regulated accredited body. Now, we offer the company accredited courses or the company certified courses that we offer in that space. If companies want to do it online, for example, we can't do the accredited online So we did basically the same course without the formalities of the red tape and the exam and whatever. But it is essentially the same course. I don't do train the trainer. There are some companies that run train the trainer courses. To be honest, I feel that some of the train the trainer courses, to get a real depth and understanding of what you're teaching other people, need to be a lot longer. When I studied, it was an awful lot longer. And I just feel that they're just dipping their toe in. And to teach something that as important as mental health is, um, I just feel that I don't want to do something that I don't fully believe in, because I think it needs to be longer, a lot of the courses, to be honest.
Absolutely.
So that's why I don't do that.
And then,
Um,
and so, as I say earlier on, we talked about you've got approached and have now joined the CRISME International Organization. And what does it allow you to do? Does that help you to open the doors?
so yeah, EHS International have been amazing. I mean, it was a big change, as you can imagine, for me. And I wasn't sure. I've known Chris a long time now at this stage, and his daughter Catherine, and they've always been amazingly supportive to me, regardless, you know. And I, Chris and I had quite a few chats, and we got to a point where, you know, we decided we were going to progress together. What does that mean? It means support. And I know you'll appreciate this as well, because when you're self-employed, everything is on your shoulders, and it's really hard.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
really hard. Um, and I suppose now, there's amazing people in the organisation that I can go, like in IT. Anyone that knows me knows I'm pretty horrendous with IT. I'm getting there. I'm learning, but yeah, I'm very slowly learning. My kids help me most of the time. But the IT department are amazing. The PR, like I wouldn't have the bandwidth to, you know, like even being able to speak at the National Health and Safety Conference last Friday in Killarney. Like I wouldn't, it would have taken me a lot longer to get there than, you know. So Chris and his daughter Catherine have been an amazing support to me, and
Brilliant.
continue to be so, more so because I'm part of the organisation, you know.
Brilliant. And so, who is your typical customer that you would be working with now?
So I work a lot with employees. Um, well, initially my clients were multinationals. Then the fully funded training with the education training boards allowed self-employed people, SMEs, come and attend the courses, which I was so grateful for, because I want everybody to be able to access training. Um, and the retail SkillNet Ireland, I do their mental health training as well. So, like for example, last June, I went to Athlone, and all the cohorts for, I think it was supervisory management course or training management course, um, all went from Dublin, Belfast, Cork to Athlone, and I was doing like master classes with them in Athlone. So, like, that was great to teach kind of the younger kind of cohort as well. I was talking in a school there the week before last, and we'll be speaking with some more schools as well. So it's across the board really now, which I'm really grateful for, because I don't want to just work with one type of client. I mean, you learn and you grow the more diverse environments you're in, as you know well, you know.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, we launched G Words Health on the basis of tackling the SME community, particularly because they tend not to have HR departments. They tend not to have the support mechanisms that allow people access the sort of services you provide. And I think that's the for us as a business, I think that's the big gap we see in the marketplace. And so it's obviously the conversation we'll tease out. Um, you and I got together, and I owe you a thank you, because you put a post on LinkedIn that I hadn't asked you to do, just talking about the use of our own G Words Health app. You might just explain that a bit more again, if you don't mind.
Absolutely, absolutely. You had really kindly sent me a link one time if I ever needed support with your amazing app. And one weekend I found myself at home with my daughters, and one of my daughters had a bad throat infection, and it was a Friday evening. And I thought, okay, it's Friday. Do I want to go to the out hours doctor? I don't think so. What are my options here? And I looked into my health insurer, because there's an online doctor option with them, and it was going to be more than 48 hours to get an appointment. And I thought, well, that's not much good. And then I remembered your kind offer, and I went in and explored the app, and realized it was way more straightforward than my health insurer, number one. Number two, I was able to get an appointment much faster. And there was no catches. I was waiting on the cat. There wasn't one. And I thought to myself, how do I thank you? I got the right medicine for my daughter. I didn't have to wait. And what is the most valuable way I can thank you? And that's letting people know that this option is available to them. And it's brilliant.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, no, I was surprised because I saw you came into my feed and I said, "Oh, that's very nice," and thank you very much for that.
Mhm.
And obviously, we have been chosen, and we're grateful for it, by the Small Firms Association to also provide our service to their members to be able to offer their employees, because there's a gap in the market. There's an overcomplication with healthcare in this country that I don't think needs to be there. And secondly, healthcare has become quite an expensive tax for what we call the squeeze middle, those who, can't or don't have health insurance and don't have medical cards. And so all of a sudden, when GPs fees were introduced, they told us it was €20, and it doesn't really matter. It's kind of a contribution, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. And now it's 60, 70, 80, €100 for a GP visit. That becomes very expensive.
It's not right, and it's funny, my dad, I think of my dad in this one because, the chemists and the doctors call there's people that come in patients, but they're actually clients.
Yeah.
They're clients, because at the end of the day, you're getting charged an awful lot of money, and you've no choice when you're unwell. You've no choice. So in that situation, I was really grateful on that particular weekend that I had an option that I could use to support my child, and it's, yeah, the health system in this country is broken, as we
Yeah.
all
Yeah,
know,
absolutely. Yeah.
you
Well,
know.
look, between you on mental awareness and tearing down the stigma about conversations about mental health, and those in the G Wards health side tearing down affordable access just to get to urgent care. Certainly, my hope is over time that we start to make fundamental positive changes in for people.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it takes for someone like yourself to, break the mold on this, because it's not going to, like, one of my last quotes on that talk I was given on Friday is, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So unless we're going to do something different, how can we expect a different result?
Yeah.
So by people like you, um, and, changing how we do things and questioning and challenging the ways that we do things, unless we do that, nothing will change.
No, it won't. And look, as you say, there are vested interests in why things shouldn't change, and that becomes part of the big challenge as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. But it has to change. It has to change. We all, there's what's legal, and then there's our moral compass. And I'm all about the moral compass. If something isn't right, legal or not, you know, it's not right. And there's certain systems that need to change in this country. And by having organisations like Courts Health, I think we're on the road.
Yeah, I know. And look, vice versa, Louise. As I say, from us, we've only stepped into this understanding about mental awareness and the need to tear down stigmas. And obviously, we run a very simplified counselling process around what we do, but I don't think that's the right approach either. And I say that only because people need the right to choose. And the first element of that stuff is about access.
Yeah,
So, how do I create the opportunity to be able to access choice? And I think that's part of where I think the systemization is slightly wrong. So if all we do with G Wards Health is, look, I can give you a GP at the end of an application without any form filling, with a very simplified process and at a price point that allows a business to offer its employees, then we start to create positive change. Um, And then secondly, if we, if we're coordinating with the right organizations with the same moral compass, then that ability to be able to access, training that you do, um, and the other services that are out there, I think then we begin to do something very positive right across the spectrum for people.
Absolutely. And we need to shout it loud what we're doing in because people need to know what is available to them. Like when I tell people that the the options, even like the ETBs, for example, that's fully funded training, free training that is for anyone in employment. People don't really believe me. And I'm like, I'm shouting from the rooftops. So, again, it people need to know what's available to them, and we need to shout pretty loud to get over the noise of some of the things, the standard ways that we've always done things, so we can actually be heard.
Absolutely. Well, look, let's collectively go on that journey. As I say, we'll talk about what synergies come out going forward. But for now, Louise, I want to thank you for the courtesy of that LinkedIn profile, and secondly,
Um,
coming on and verbalizing it on this interview today. And look, we look forward to spreading the message out on behalf of what you do, and hopefully on vice versa on behalf of what we do as we grow and we interfere with this industry in a positive way.
no better man, absolutely, and thank you. We're a good team.
Thanks.
Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
My privilege.
Thanks, Ian.